Hey everyone, it's me, Matt. Welcome back to my Florida garden. I hope you're all doing great, and I hope you're ready to garden with me today because in today's video, we are tackling the freeze cleanup in my backyard garden. So let's get into it. All right, so as many of you know, we had an unprecedented freeze come through Florida back in February, and it did a ton of damage to a lot of my tropicals. So these plants here, these are my bananas. Sorry, I'm trying to block the sun. These are my banana plants. You can see they've got a ton of new growth on them, which I'm so excited about. This one here especially has the most growth, but they're all still very much alive. You can see this one here is pushing some new growth. I think I saw some new growth there on that one. This little guy here, so on and so forth. There's also some little pups down at the base that have started to put on some size. See this leaf here. There are a few that didn't make it, like this one here, and then this taller one here, which was actually starting to flower. This was the beginnings of a banana flower. So this one I'll have to cut off at the base. So anyways, today I want to get in here and I want to prune off all of the dead growth, and we'll get these banana plants looking beautiful. We'll also totally hack out the ones that didn't make it. And then over here, I've got my Hawaiian tea plants. Sorry, it almost slipped my mind for a second. My Hawaiian tea plants, which are usually a beautiful maroon color, dark, deep red with pink accents. But you can see they are not looking good. I think they are totally done. I'm gonna have to trim them back down to their base. I was hoping that they would start to push some new growth on their stems, but I know some of the ones in the front yard I actually already cleaned up and they were showing signs of life. So yeah, right here you can see this is new growth. This looks like a new growth point, maybe right there as well. Sorry, it's not focusing. Right there as well. So yeah, it looks like, yeah, you can see here, this is all new growth right there. So I'm gonna basically just come in with the loppers or the saw, depending on how thick these little trunks are. And we're gonna just lop these off right at ground level, and they will push new growth this season. And one day they will be mature, big, beautiful Hawaiian tea plants. That's the worst part about this, is that I lost all that mature growth. But yeah, it's all good. It's the circle of life here in my Florida garden. You can see this one's got a lot of new growth. Much more new growth. I think it's because it gets the most hot afternoon sun at the moment. This is the west side of the property. This is, no, I'm sorry. This is the east side of the property. And then over here, this is the west side. So the sun sets here in the west. So I think this one has the most growth at its base. Actually, you can see right here, all this new growth here and there and right back here. So yeah, that's the plan for these. So we'll clean up the banana plants. We'll clean up these Hawaiian tea plants. We're also gonna clean up these banana plants, which are doing great. You can see all that new beautiful green growth. So we'll get them looking good. And then we will come over to my fire pit area and also cut back these Hawaiian tea plants. So I had 3 groupings of them. There was, sorry, hiccup. There was one group here, there was a group here, and a group here. So we will cut those back to the base. So yeah, that is what's on the docket for today. So let's get started over here. Oh, actually, one last thing. My Plumeria trees have started to wake up for summer. You can see all, I guess spring, but all this beautiful growth on my Plumeria trees, looking so great. These ones are a little bit farther behind, but you can still see that there is growth points, new leaves are forming. And then over here, this one had some cold damage here and there, which I pruned off about 10 days ago. I came in with the loppers and made angled cuts. That way the water will kind of direct off of these as they heal, and then they should start producing new growth points on either side. You can actually see here a few years ago, I had some cold damage and I did the same thing, and you can see where the stem was cut, and then you can see these are the new growth points. Same as down here, stem was cut and new growth points. So the plan is I'm gonna move these out of the corner here. I keep them here during the colder months to help protect them. They get radiant heat from the house. And then once they kind of break dormancy and start pushing new leaves, I move them out onto my patio. But I figured, since we're gonna be taking back all the dead growth on the Hawaiian tea plants, that I'm actually, instead of putting them on the patio, I'm gonna put them kind of in the mulch back here, line them up along the back of the patio, but up behind the retaining wall. Yeah, so we'll also fertilize them. I do have some Dr. Earth exotic blend fertilizer, which I will show you. I'll show you how I do that. It's really simple. And yeah, we'll get these beautiful Plumeria trees out where they can be front and center for the spring and summer seasons. All right, so for this project, I've got a handsaw here and some 70% isopropyl alcohol in this spray bottle. I always spray my cutting tools with isopropyl alcohol between plants. That way I don't spread any disease from plant to plant. So this should be quick and easy. So let's get in there and clean up these banana plants. Drop the cap. Get that. So I just went over and grabbed my hand pruners. I am going, oops, spraying myself in the face. I'm going to use them to just snip off this dead growth here to kind of help this leaf unfurl, and hopefully it'll start pushing new growth. Let me take you off the tripod really quick. So you can see here, this is a new leaf that hasn't totally unfurled yet, but they push out of the center. So that new leaf is actually gonna push out of the center of this leaf. And with all that dead growth on top, I think it was kind of trapping the new leaves from coming through. It was kind of binding up the whole leaf growing process, if you will. So same thing here. There's just too much dead growth. I think that it's binding up the new leaf from pushing through. So I'm gonna come in here and also make a cut, and then we will move on to trimming up the rest of these plants, and then removing at least this dead stalk right here. So there we go. We've got the first job completed here with this little banana grove. Actually, I'm gonna come in here and I am gonna trim off this dead growth. Maybe I can break it off. No, I'll use the pruners. We'll trim that off. But you can see how much better this whole area looks. These plants are well on their way to recovery. I'm also gonna use those pruners and get this piece here. But yeah, if you watched my video, I guess it was back in the fall, when I pruned up these plants, trimmed off the dead growth, I did the chop and drop method, which you can kind of see some of the leftovers here. Banana, the leaves are full of nutrients, they're full of nitrogen, and if you chop them and then tear them up and drop them and spread them around the base of the plants, it releases nutrients and nitrogen, or sorry, not nitrogen, potassium back into the soil. And actually, gosh, I missed this one. I gotta trim this one up. I'll do that off camera. So I usually do that in the fall when it's not as rainy, because it can kind of create a kind of mushy mess, especially in our rainy season. So I only do it in the fall. So you saw me use the trash can, and I got all of the leaves picked up. I am going to leave these ones here because they're almost totally broken down. But if you want to, you can chop and drop them. All those leaves will release all that great nutrients back into the soil. So anyways, let me do the quick little cleanups here, over there, and I will trim these little leaves off of this one that I missed. And then we will move over and do this little banana grove next. So that's a wrap over here with this banana grove. You can see how much better these plants look. So much new green growth, and I love to see all the little pops that are pushing up from the bottom. I only had to remove, I think it was 2 plants, one here, and then there was one back here. And then also, I should have mentioned, I already mentioned that I was going to fertilize the Plumeria trees with the Dr. Earth Exotic Blend Fertilizer, but I also am gonna use this opportunity right now to fertilize both banana groves. So this stuff is amazing. I'll link it in the video description for reference. I use it on all my tropical plants. So for the tropical plants, we are basically, these are established plants, and we're gonna use 1/2 cup for every foot of plant height. You just sprinkle it right into the soil, right around the plants, work it in, and then water it in. We're supposed to get some rain later today, so I'm actually gonna let the rain water it in, but I will go ahead and sprinkle the Dr. Earth in around the base of these plants, as well as around the base of these ones. So let's get to it. So that was really simple. I wanted to make sure that I had enough for the Plumeria trees, so I didn't use the exact amount over here on these ones. I'll buy some more and get some more spread over here. So let me just quickly rake them in, rake all that fertilizer in, and then we will move on to pruning back the Hawaiian tea plants. Also, you want to fertilize these plants every 2 months throughout the growing season. So starting now in April, and then probably end of September, early October. So yeah, I've picked this up online at Amazon, which again, I'll link it in the video description for reference. And I've also found it at Walmart. So if you need some for your tropical plants, be sure to pick some up. So now let's tackle the removal of all of my Hawaiian tea plants. Like I said, I'm going to use my loppers here, maybe my handsaw, I don't know where I put it, I'll have to find it, to remove these all down right at the soil level. It's gonna be a huge, huge change over here in my backyard patio garden, but we'll get these ones cleaned up as well as this one over here. So let's get to it. All right, the Hawaiian tea plants are all gone. What a dramatic transformation. My patio feels so exposed. It's gonna take a few growing seasons for the Hawaiian tea plants to grow back to somewhat of a privacy height. Oh, there goes. My fiddle leaf fig here needs to be repotted. One of the big roots grew out of the drain hole, so it's really not balanced anymore. And I need to get in here and repot it, give it a little root prune. This guy's huge. Anyways, what I was saying, it's gonna take a few months for some of that mature height to grow back so there's at least some sort of privacy screen here. Actually, I'm gonna use my hand pruners really quick and get this off. There we go. Now that little palm looks a lot better. So what was I saying? Yeah, so we are gonna move the Plumeria trees out. Like I said, I'm gonna place them kind of in the mulch back there. That way when they leaf out, it'll provide a little bit of a privacy screen. But before we do that, I wanted to really quick go over to the fire pit area and clean up those tea plants that are over there between the Adirondack chairs. So that was simple enough. The Hawaiian tea plants are no more. I didn't see any new growth coming out of the bases of these ones, so I might have to replace them. We shall see though. They might start pushing some new growth as the temperatures warm up. I still need to do a ton of work back here. I'm not gonna film it, but I can just give you kind of an overview. I am gonna come in here and prune off all this dead growth off of my angel wing begonias, these gorgeous plants right here. They are pushing new growth. You can see this new growth here. So I need to get in here and clean it up. I'm gonna pull out all the sword ferns. These are invasive sword ferns. There's so many people that always get so upset when they see me pull out the sword ferns, but they are very invasive here in Florida. That's these plants actually right here. These are the sword ferns. They are everywhere. You can see I've got plenty of sword ferns. So for every one that I'm pulling out, there are 100 more that are spared. So people get in the comments and get so worked up about me removing them, but just want to let you all know they are invasive. So yeah, I'm gonna come in here off camera probably this weekend and clean up these angel wing begonias, just prune off all this dead growth, similar to how I've pruned everything. I'll use the isopropyl alcohol and basically trim back to where the new growth is starting. Also, I wanted to show you my caladiums are starting to push through. There's a bunch of beautiful caladiums planted back here, and you can see that they are starting to push through for this spring and summer season. Also, I'm gonna film it off camera, but I am gonna come in and clean up these Hawaiian tea plants. You can see they've got new growth already, some of them at least. Yeah, this one's got a little bit of new growth. So I'll clean these up. I'm gonna get my pole saw and I'm gonna clean up this giant bird of paradise. I already cleaned up the one in the front yard, but I have not done this one yet. So this will be done off camera. I'll get it looking good. Also, check out this beautiful pineapple flower. My pineapple is blooming. You can see those beautiful little blue flowers. I need to move this out into a sunny area, probably get it over there across the backyard where it will get that strong afternoon sun. But this is a pup from last year's pineapple plant. So I harvested 2 pineapples last year off of this plant here and this one. And I propagated those pineapples from pineapple tops. And when you propagate pineapples from pineapple tops, if you've seen my videos or you know anything about propagating pineapples, it can take up to 2 years for them to actually fruit. But once you have a mother plant established, it'll produce pups. You can see this is actually a little pup right here that I didn't break off. This was a pup from the mother plant last year. And again, so is this one. But once you have the mother plant established and she produces pups, you can likely get pineapple much quicker than 2 years. Sometimes it'll take a year or so. This one actually took about, I'd say 10 months for it to flower again. It could have also been, the flower could have also triggered because of the cold stress from the unprecedented freeze that we had here in Florida. I had all these pineapple plants up against my house over here behind the banana plants. I put them there because they were too big to cover, but I figured that the house would radiate heat, and for the most part it worked. You can see this one here got some cold damage on it, but it is still very much alive. It's just ugly. And then these little guys I had underneath the frost cloth, tucked in between the 2 raised beds over there. So anyways, yeah, it's super exciting that I've got at least 1 pineapple for this growing season. There's nothing better than homegrown pineapples, I'm telling you. I'll link some of the pineapple videos in the video description if you want to go back and look at any of my pineapple videos. I actually have a playlist. There's a pineapple playlist. You can check that out too on the channel. So also one more thing. So we're gonna clean this up off camera, clean up the shade garden off camera, and then off camera I'm gonna clean up my bleeding heart vines. They also got a lot of cold stress. You can see they're looking awful, but I'm gonna get in here and prune them. I'm not gonna film it. I filmed an extensive video last year on how to prune bleeding heart vines, which I will also link in the video description for reference, along with a video on how to make these little DIY bamboo trellises. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trellises here that I trained these plants up. So yeah, I'm gonna clean this up off camera. No need to show you all that, but if you're interested, I will link that project in the description for reference. So now let's move on to moving the Plumeria trees out from the corner. We'll get them placed over here on the back side of the patio. We'll get them fertilized, and we will get on with the rest of our day. Also, one more thing. Look at all of this dead growth. I gotta bundle all this and take it out to the curb for green waste pickup. All right, so to fertilize the Plumerias, I'm going to use this Dr. Earth Exotic Blend Fertilizer again. For the Plumeria trees, it says to use 1 cup for every inch of trunk diameter, measured 4 to 6 inches above the soil line. We'll work it gently into the inside drip line, and then we'll reapply every 2 months throughout the growing season. It says May through August. It's early April. They're already leafed out, so we'll go ahead and do that today. So yeah, I'm probably gonna just use what's ever left in here. We'll see how far that gets me. I'll just evenly distribute it amongst all my plants. And then, like I said, it needs to be watered in, but we're supposed to get rain later today, so I'll let the rain do all the watering for me. So that was simple enough. The Plumeria trees are placed for the spring and summer seasons. I did place this one. This is the one that I had to do the pruning on for that cold stress. I placed it over here so that these are facing the west sun. So hopefully they will sprout some new growth. That warmth should hopefully wake them up. Sorry about the saw. One of my neighbors is working on a project. And then this one over here, I'm gonna have to just repot it. You can see it's got a gnarly lean. I need to get in here and straighten this one out. I actually repotted all 3 of these last year. I filmed a extensive video on how to repot and prep your Plumeria trees for spring, so I'm not gonna film that project, but I will also link that project in the video description for reference. So I still got a pretty big task list here in my backyard, but I walked you all through it. I'm gonna tackle that in the next few days. And you know what? We'll probably have to add getting up on the roof and using the leaf blower to get all the pine needles off. These pine trees did some needle casting with the cold, and I gotta get up here and clean off my roof. So that's yet another project to tackle this weekend. Got a long list of to-dos. So yeah, I'm really excited that I got all of this work done today. The backyard is on its way to looking beautiful again. Can only look better, right? Every day as the temperatures are warming up, everything is waking up, and I'm so excited to see what kind of growth I'll get on these Hawaiian tea plants this year, if I'll get any over there around the Adirondack chairs. I'm super excited about that pineapple that's growing on that plant. And then hopefully one of my banana plants produces a banana rack for me later on this season. So that's gonna do it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm a sweaty mess. I need to get inside and cool off, take a shower, burn these clothes. Just kidding. But anyways, I hope I've inspired you to get out into your gardens and do some spring garden cleanup, especially if you live here in Florida. Hopefully you've learned something about pruning, pruning, pretty much sawing off Hawaiian tea plants to the ground, just basically back to wherever you see new growth. Hopefully you've learned something about taking care of banana plants, or just hopefully in general you've learned something or saw something cool in this video. If you haven't already done so, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you can hang out with me in future videos. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.